Hey gang, what's up? Aaron right here, Canadian Looney. We've got Pierre Poilievre making a rare appearance on legacy media. No wonder he doesn't make many appearances on here. They keep putting words in his mouth, pushing the liberal agenda. That's what it seems like to me. Let's take a peek. He's here on CTV having words put in his mouth, it would seem to me. Let's look.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
Our guest tonight is Pierre Poilievre. He is the leader, of course, of the Conservative Party of Canada, opposition leader, and with a new seat in Alberta, he'll soon be back in the House of Commons for the fall sitting. It's nice to have you with us again.
It's great to be back. Thank you.
You have said that you and your party will not merely oppose this government, but you will offer, quote, real solutions, propose real solutions. Can you give us an example of what one of those real solutions might be?
Sure. Well, we could start with the liberal crime crisis. We have a solution for the raging crime in our streets and even in our rural communities, and it's we call it the 3 strikes you're out law. Very simple. An offender commits 3 serious offenses and they are not eligible for bail, parole, probation, or house arrest. We're going to be putting that forward in a law that we hope the government will quickly pass so that we can take that tiny minority of criminals who are terrorizing our streets and put them behind bars so that we can make our communities safe again.
That's been implemented some places in the United States. It's been criticized that it doesn't necessarily work. Why do you feel it would work in Canada?
Well, it will work in Canada because we have the problem is a very simple one, actually. We have a very small number of people doing a phenomenal amount of crime. So in Vancouver, they had to arrest the same 40 offenders 6,000 times, so 150 times a year per person. If you took those 40 people off the street, you'd have 6,000 fewer people violated and victimized. But unfortunately, liberal laws let them be repeatedly released, even within minutes of their latest arrest, on bail. So this would lock them up, keep them out of society and circulation while people can live in peace. And instead, the liberal approach has been to go after licensed, law-abiding, trained and tested hunters and sport shooters who are not a risk. We think we should go after real criminals, and that would be a practical solution to stop what I call the liberal crime crisis that followed their introduction of these lax, easy laws on criminals.
Haven't serious crime rates, though, decreased in Canada?
No, they've gone up dramatically. They're up 50% since the Liberals took office. After having dropped under Prime Minister Harper, we brought in very tough laws and crime dropped by 25%. And Trudeau got in and basically made it so you get automatic bail under C-75. You get house arrest under C-5, even for serious sexual and violent offenses. And that's why you see this same tiny minority terrorizing and tearing apart communities across Canada.
Let me ask you about tariffs and the relationship with the United States. You have been quite adamant you don't like the fact that Canada has recently removed some tariffs on U.S. products coming into the country. Why don't you like that? I
would clarify slightly. What I would like to see is tariffs removed on both sides of the border. I think that the mistake that Mr. Carney has made is that he promised elbows up, and of course it's been elbows down ever since the election. He removes tariffs without getting anything in return, and he is signaling weakness. That's why the Americans have actually increased tariffs on Canada. The Chinese sense the same weakness, so they're increasing tariffs on our fish harvesters, seafood producers, and farmers. The weakness is costing Canadians here at home. So what I think we should do is go to President Trump and say, listen, why don't we both remove tariffs? Let's get to a tariff-free relationship again, and in exchange for that, we will build up our military like you haven't seen since the Second World War. We'll harden up our borders against drugs and other dangers. You'll be safer, we'll both be richer, and we'll be a stronger continent as a result.
Is President Trump interested in a win-win, though? He doesn't seem to be.
Well, he hasn't had to be because of the incredible weakness the Liberals have put us in. If you think about it, since they've taken office, $500 billion of our investment has left to the States. That's a problem that has worsened under Mark Carney. In the last 5 months, about $60 billion more of our money is left, with the biggest outflow of investment in the 5-month period. And that's because of Carney's high taxes, blocking resource projects and pipelines. I want to go the opposite direction. So So again, back to solutions. Conservatives are proposing a Canadian Sovereignty Act, which will make this the fastest place in the world to get permits for mines, pipelines, export plants, forestry projects, open our ports to the world.
Well,
and that'll get us away from just relying on the Americans and make us a truly sovereign and self-reliant economy.
Let me ask you about ports, because today it's being reported, and the Prime Minister in Latvia spoke about big projects in Churchill and Montreal, Port of Montreal, that could be coming for the export of things primarily like LNG. Here on the east coast of Canada, we're sort of looking around and going over here because we have an LNG port in St. John that could be retrofitted for that type of purpose. Will you fight for maritime ports to be included in that?
Absolutely. And in fact, I strongly support natural gas development, liquefaction, and export from Eastern Canada. We should be able to defund Vladimir Putin right now by selling our gas to the Europeans, but the Liberals have blocked every natural gas liquefaction and export project that has been proposed in Eastern Canada, saying there's no business case. Mr. Carney still won't commit to one, and yesterday the Polish ambassador was laughing at us on CBC. He did an interview where he started laughing. He said, we do buy Canadian natural gas from the Americans. They buy it cheap from Canada and sell it to us at a higher price, said the Polish ambassador. So the Americans are making money off our gas instead of letting great Eastern Canadian pipe fitters, welders, and electricians build liquefaction facilities and ship it off directly. We should be getting $14 a cubic, a British thermal unit. We're getting $3. So we got to get the Liberal rules out of the way, unleash export over the Atlantic, and that starts right here in Atlantic Canada.
You mentioned defense spending. It's clear that Canada will be buying a fleet of submarines. It was mentioned today that it's likely either going to be a German model or one from South Korea. Regardless of which it is, should the procurement regulations state that Canadian aluminum, Canadian steel be used, and should some of those submarines be at least built in Canada?
To the first question, absolutely. We need to support Canadian steel and aluminum production. To the second question, we have to ask ourselves why the government has had to admit that we are not competitive in producing these sorts of things. Same thing's happening on the West Coast with ferries. They say we can't make ferries in Canada. Well, why not? Why is it that the taxes and the red tape is so thick in Canada? Even though we have the best workers in the world, I was just at the Irving shipyard today, the government bureaucracy stands in the way of making more of this product at home. So we need to remove that bureaucracy and become more self-sufficient and reliant on ourselves. That's why we're putting forward the Canadian Sovereignty Act. The other idea we're proposing is to get rid of capital gains tax when people reinvest in Canada, bring back those hundreds of billions of dollars of investment to grow our economy here.
I only have about 30 seconds left, but I want to get this in. Canada Post today, it was revealed it lost $400 million in the second quarter. Package traffic is down 37%. Of course, a lot of that had to do with the last strike. Would you sell Canada Post?
We definitely have to cut the costs back. We can't be hemorrhaging this kind of money. Mr. Carney's deficit is even bigger than Justin Trudeau's, even though he hasn't introduced a budget yet. We need to cut government spending and bureaucracy, including at Crown corporations, so that we can get...
Is that a yes?
I'm not making that announcement now, but we have to get the cost of government under control so that we can bring down the taxes, the inflation, and reverse the Liberal cost of living crisis.
Mr. Poilievre, thank you for coming in. It's always good to see you.
With you. It's wonderful to be back out east.
That's Pierre Poilievre, of course, the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, opposition leader.
As a European, I am a European, actually.
You are?
Yeah,
Oh.
Irish citizen. Yeah. So there you
welcome.
go.
Welcome.
Speaking as a European.
WTF.
Here, here.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
More than just elbows.
And as the most European of the non-European countries.
Being aware of what potential conflicts of interest you
What
sought
possible
to avoid.
conflict would you have, Stephanie? Stephanie, I'm complying with the rules. I'm complying with the rules in advance. Confiance.
These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations, you're spending more money on taxes than on food, clothing, and shelter combined.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
All right, gang, thank you all very much for watching. Aaron, Canadian Looney, like, share, subscribe. Smash that subscribe. We're trying to grow this thing. Canadian Federal Politics. Get yours right here. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.
Canadians.